to Sensible Politics with your host, Greg, and
I'm Chris.
Chris, welcome back.
We have huge news going on today.
Yeah, what happened today? Or yesterday?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. This has huge complications.
Implications.
Yes.
And
complications, too.
Well, I don't think it's that complicated. You either do the right thing or you don't do the right thing. You're looking at your own self-interest or you don't. I think we're talking about more from the political perspective. She's a very liberal, self-proclaimed liberal judge. They said her last words was, I hope they don't replace me before they get another president. I don't believe it either.
Yeah, I mean, come on, take this out of the script or something.
The last thing she did on her deathbed was act petty.
Yeah, yeah. As she's her last breath, don't let Donald Trump replace me.
Yeah. Man, I wish I could just live 4 more years. Just like, can I die then instead of now so I can keep him from replacing me? What does that mean, though? So this will be his 3rd appointment.
Yeah.
And she just died in September, and 11 months went by for Obama, and they would not let him replace. It's called him a lame duck president. Would not let him make a replacement. What does this mean, though?
This is going to be crazy complicated because the election. So have you heard of this? I think it's called the Election Integrity Project, with where they were wargaming what they should do as far as the outcomes of the election.
I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, so there's it's kind of like anything in politics, like the CARES Act that they just passed. It is called the CARES Act, but tons of money goes to corporations, and it doesn't really care about us as people. So the name of this organization was called, I think it was the Election Integrity Project. And what they were is basically a bunch of Democrats or really left-leaning people, and they were wargaming on what they should do on the different outcomes of the election.
Okay.
And basically what they came to an agreement on is that under no circumstance should Joe Biden concede the election, despite if he loses in a landslide on election night because there's a bunch of mail-in ballots that haven't been counted yet, all these different situations. So what you could actually have is a case where Donald Trump wins on election night because of in-person voting, but then weeks go by and then they come up with all these new ballots, and then Joe Biden claims that he wins.
You could also have a situation where Joe Biden wins and Trump doesn't concede.
Yes.
Because I think that's probably the reasoning for it, saying he's not going to. Why are we going to be playing fair when we're dealing with him? Because he has no interest in leaving, even if he loses, and he's going to cry foul and say, oh, they cheated.
Well, I mean, we're doing an election a way we've never done in this country. We've never had a bunch of mail-in ballots like
Yes, we have. They're called absentee.
Those are totally different. You have to actually request an absentee ballot.
You have to request these.
No, you do not. They just literally just mail them out to anybody who is already registered as a voter.
No, that's the first I've heard.
Look it up. It's true.
Because
it's
when they did the primaries, you had to request absentee.
Absentee ballots. These mail-in ballots are totally different. We have never done an election in this country using mail-in ballots like this. It has never happened.
Well, we'll have to fact check that. But if it's a mail-in ballot or absentee ballot, I'm thinking the process is going to be the same. Why would you do it any different? You have different codes and stuff on the paper to make sure that it's validated. So, I mean,
what you're saying makes sense, but it's not what's actually happening.
Nothing's happened yet, though.
No, they've already sent them out. Absentee ballots
in what state?
You have to be in all states. Absentee ballots.
So you got yours.
No, I'm not an absentee ballot voter.
No, you said if you're registered to vote, they'll send you a mail-in option.
They're already sending them out. They haven't sent them out to everybody yet because we still have 46 days or 45 days.
When did they start sending them?
They're going to start sending them here really soon. In some cases, you can already send them in, but you don't have to request them. That's the difference. Is with these mail-in ballots. Absentee ballots, I have to personally say I want an absentee ballot in advance. Mail-in ballots, if you are a registered voter, they're literally just mass sending out. They said they're sending out 80 million mail-in ballots. 80 million people have not requested absentee ballots or mail-in ballots. But the whole point on why this is so crazy that she died and why this is very complicated is that both sides are going to claim that they won and they're going to fight about it. And then eventually, where does that go? To the Supreme Court. We now have only 8 justices. What if this goes to the Supreme Court and it's a 4-4 decision? Then what the hell are we going to do?
It sounds like you're assuming they won't replace her tomorrow or within the next 3 weeks before the election. Mitch McConnell would do that.
Well, I think that would be the responsible thing to do, but it's also a very
rush and just drop somebody, which they already know who they're gonna pick. They're gonna pick that AIM. What's her name? April something.
Yeah, she was trending on Twitter last night.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that he should or shouldn't. Okay, but we can't have an opportunity where it could be a tie on the Supreme Court. Like, what the Constitution doesn't provide for this because it's set up to have 9 justices.
That's cute, but were you saying the same thing when they went a year without a Supreme Court justice?
There was nothing set up to be a contested election under Obama.
Okay, so the only thing that matters is an election. You can have ties in Supreme Court rulings that actually matter.
If it doesn't go to a tie, it's not a big deal. But if it did, Hillary Clinton came out and told Joe Biden, under no circumstance do you concede this election.
Okay, but it does look foul because at the end of the day, if this tie occurs,
what do you do?
Oh, okay. Well, as far as the election, and you don't have a decided winner, and then you go to the Supreme Court, if you have a situation where Trump appoints the next person, then it automatically he wins because he picked the justice that puts you over the top and wins for you. And I think they already got the majority to begin with, the conservative side. They do.
Roberts is like the swing vote guy, so he's kind of like Florida or Ohio. He swings back and forth.
But there's 4 conservatives.
Right now, yeah, that's why there could be a 4-4 tie.
So, no, it'll be 5. If Trump gets to put the next one in, it'll be 5, so he automatically wins the election. So it's still not really fair, is it?
Yeah, that's where this is kind of like a catch-22 situation. Like,
it's not a catch-22.
What do you do?
It's not a catch-22 because they're going to do what's in their best interest.
Yeah, I'm agreeing.
They're not going to do the right thing per se by, legal standards or anything. No, they're going to try to win. So it still
agree.
does. You still end up in this same place, where now it's like, oh well, they cheated to win the election.
But then if you don't, okay, so I agree. It's kind of crazy for a sitting president that only has 45, 46 days until the next election to rush in an appointee. I agree with that. Okay, so ideally you should probably wait until the election's over with. And then if he wins, then he can appoint that a justice. If he doesn't, then the next person can.
Okay.
So I agree with that. But if this election does go to the Supreme Court and then they tie in a 4-4 decision because there's not a tiebreaker vote, what happens after that?
Overtime.
We just redo it again?
Yes.
We just rerun the election, run it back?
Or we can do state by state. How all right, you win a state and then you get to pick a state. So like one person gets to pick a state, and if they win by a big enough majority over the other person, then they win the election. Kind of like college overtime. You get the ball, then I get the ball. You get the ball, then I get the ball.
So we changed the rules on something we've done for the inception of the country.
What are the rules though?
The rules are the Electoral College.
So we won't have a situation where, okay, so you're saying change the rules as in we don't even acknowledge the Electoral College, but if we acknowledge the Electoral College, we don't even get to that Supreme Court point.
No, I'm not saying that we should change the rules.
I'm saying that if we go by the rules to begin with, we're never in this situation.
Yes,
so
but
we're not going to play by the rules.
But
I think
part of the rules,
that.
Part of the rules is there's 9 Supreme Court justices, which means you can't have a tie. And now, because she died, we could have a tie.
So you said Electoral College. I said, what rules are already in place if you have a tie? Well, I guess you never had a tie before. But who says you'll have a tie? I don't think you'll have a tie.
We're not going to have a tie as far as electoral votes.
No, I'm talking about a tie as far as if neither concedes, which I don't see why it matters, because if you win, you win. It doesn't matter if you quit. If you didn't get the most votes, you lose. So it doesn't matter whether or not you concede.
I think
it's
okay.
It's just going through the motions. It's like that's the right thing to do, but we're beyond doing the right thing at this point because everything is partisanship, and you do what's in the best interest of your party.
Do you remember in 2000 when you had Bush and Gore in Florida?
Yes.
This is going to be that times 1,000. I mean, this is going to be so much more.
Only difference is,
I mean, I can
Joe Biden isn't going to go out like a coward, like
Gore.
Yeah, Gore had too much decorum. Gore was wanted to be, sensible, wanted to be do it the right way. He wasn't even willing to really fight it. Joe Biden will fight it. That's the main difference.
And that's where this can get pretty damn scary.
So what? This is the country we live in now. That's what our democracy has become.
So
and it has been this for probably 12 years or so.
So let's play this out. So Trump is going to nominate somebody. It's going to happen. I believe this. I do not think that under any circumstance Trump will say, I'm just not going to nominate somebody. He will.
Of course he will.
Okay. So when
it's
he
in
does
his best interest to do so.
When he does this, do you remember what happened with Brett Kavanaugh? How, I mean, it was pretty nuts what was going on with Brett Kavanaugh. I mean, there was people outside the Senate that were trying to beat on the doors, and we weren't in a climate like we are right now back then.
Mm-hmm.
If he tries to do that, they will literally have riots and protests and sieges on the White House for him even attempting to nominate somebody.
We may have it anyway. That's the world we live in now. Protests and that kind of stuff. They are already assuming that no matter what happens, no matter how the election goes, you're going to have to throw Trump out if he loses. So it's like, we just go along with the plan.
If he loses fair and square, I do not see him fighting to stay in there.
Depends on if he wants to or not. If he makes a big enough deal about it, his supporters will be right behind him. And he's got the Senate as of right now. So I don't see why he wouldn't do that. And I'm not saying that he will do it, but if that's his plan, why would he decide not to? Like, what is it about his character that makes him seem like he'll go stand down and do the right thing, unless he just didn't want to be president anymore?
This is the same argument that Hillary Clinton was trying to argue prior to the last election.
What do you mean?
Hillary Clinton was trying to, right before the end, like at the late October area, she was trying to say that if he loses, he won't concede and all this stuff. And then all she did was not really truly concede, because she claimed that Russia allowed him to become president. And she claimed that he was an agent of Vladimir Putin.
Well, the concession is one thing, but to lose and to stay there and say, no, I'm not leaving my position, is something totally different.
That's almost like a comic book type thing. Like no, I'm staying here.
The president is a comic book character. They have comic books and cartoons. My cartoon president. Come on, man. He's a comic book
The idea
character.
that he's gonna get a chain and chain himself to the desk in the Oval Office.
Maybe.
I just don't see it. That just doesn't seem like real life stuff.
And he's going to have his own key, and he's going to be getting up. Oh, I got to go to the bathroom. All right, I'm unlocking myself from the desk. Don't let anybody in for a little while. That's what's going to happen.
I don't know. I think it's a catch-22 situation. I don't think that he should nominate somebody, because I think he's going to win anyway. So he'll eventually get to nominate Supreme Court Justice regardless. But I think he should wait until after he's inaugurated again. Or if Biden does win, then Biden should be able to choose it, because it's so close to this election. But at the same time, if they do tie, it does create a constitutional crisis, because then you literally have...
It sets a precedent. Not necessarily a crisis, because it's never happened before.
Yeah, it's like, well, there's nothing higher than the Supreme Court. As far as our Constitution goes, there's no higher power, no higher place than the Supreme Court. And if they tie and they can't make a decision, then what happens? Like, what do we do?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't
it's
know.
just we just say we're just gonna be single as a country for a little bit. Well, you remember that Cat Williams bit where he's talking about, do we have to have a president? Can we just date a president for a little bit?
Date a president.
He said, I mean, so we're just single as a country for a little bit.
No, how about we get on Match.com and get a president? Or do we want a Tinder president?
Yeah,
Somebody who we can just hook up with. And
better than what the Democrats gave us.
And then throw them in the garbage. Better than what the Democrats did.
It is.
That was like the consistent hookup that you know. Like that's your booty call that you can always fall back on when everything else falls apart.
Yeah, it's not the
That's
greatest, but
was.
it's
it
passable.
ain't even good.
Yeah.
It's just like it'll get me by.
Yeah, we know what we both
it's
are
the
working
devil
with.
you know. Yeah. We picked a disgusting way to yeah, that's bad. All right, so let's talk about RGB a little bit. We were going to initially discuss the difference that occurs or the evolution of the voter post-Obama. Why does the Obama voter switch over and become a Trump voter? Now, I actually think it's not necessarily like this mass exodus after Obama, because remember Obama's first term, he won by a landslide. He didn't beat Romney by a landslide. It wasn't close, but it wasn't a landslide. So the fact that he won, I think maybe there's a reason to not investigate the votes he lost. You see what I'm saying?
Not to?
Because he won. So it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, because he did lose votes in the second election versus the first.
Right. Yeah. So there were people that shifted even then. And then there was another shift when Hillary came in.
Yeah.
So what's shifting these voters to go from Obama to Romney to Trump?
Yeah, it's crazy because a state like Indiana, where we're here at,
When Obama, the
when
first
Obama
election,
in 08, I voted Obama in 08. That was my very first election I ever voted in, and I went that way. I think what it is
You've fallen since then.
I think what it is that Obama looked like an outsider in 08. He was this junior. He was a junior senator. He wasn't like an establishment person that we had all heard about for many years.
What does that even mean?
I think that, I mean, he wasn't like a senator.
But how are you going to be a politician? How are you going to be in politics and not be a establishment person? You got to play politics to be in politics. So the thing I don't understand is, like, people said they liked Sarah Palin because she wasn't establishment. You mean she's batshit crazy? We like Donald Trump because he's just going to drain the swamp when he owns the swamp.
How does he own the swamp?
He's one of the people that benefit from all the things that the swamp holders hold dear. He's a beneficiary of the swamp.
But he was not actually part of it. He hasn't been in office doing it.
Okay, the swamp was sitting back in the lagoon, and Trump put a big sign up on the swamp and let you know the swamp is there.
Yeah, and he said he's going to drain it.
No, he said he's going to drain it, but he's not going to drain it. He hasn't drained the swamp as of yet. What he's actually done is he's kind of taken over the swamp.
He's gone over.
He is the swamp.
The swamp has tried to impeach him multiple times.
Oh, the swamp is the Democrats.
I think there's Republicans that have
wanted to impeach Trump.
There's some Republicans that are never Trumpers that are totally against it.
Not many,
but there are
few, very few.
Okay.
How big is the swamp? Is it a pond? Is it a swamp? Is it a lake? Is it an ocean?
We have a bunch of senators, congressmen who have been there for 30, 40 years.
So that's what we mean, lifetime politicians.
Yeah.
Because Obama hadn't been there for a long time. That makes him an outsider.
Yeah, he was a junior senator. Most people never even heard of the guy until he started running. And then we heard him talk, and we were like, damn, this dude's smooth as hell.
So what is AOC?
What is AOC?
Is she the swamp, or is she outside the box? She
she's
plays within the realms of politics.
Yeah, she's only won one election so far. This will be
So
her.
she's an outsider.
This will be her second election. As of right now, she's still as an outsider. But if she keeps winning more elections, as the years goes on, she's going to be considered to be an establishment.
Okay,
She'll be there for a long time.
Oh, what is Mike Pence? He's establishment.
Well, he was just a governor. Oh no, he started off as a congressman, and then he moved to a governor of the state.
Is he an outsider?
He hasn't been in Washington. I think that's what so many people don't like, is they don't like the Washington establishments. I mean, that's why Obama beat Hillary in 2008, is Hillary was looked at as to be the Washington insider establishment people. And then we have Barack coming in, and he's coming up with these new ideas, new things that we haven't talked about before, hope and change, and we're like just eating it up. Like, yes, this is what we want. You're not part of this Washington establishment insider.
But okay, she hadn't been a senator for that long at that point. She was on her second term as a senator, right?
She was tied to Bill.
So, but she's not Bill. So I think the thing that really worked against her was her last name. The fact that her husband was a president, and the fact that we had two Bushes prior.
Yeah.
I think people got sick of the monarchical hierarchy that just goes down and we just pass it through the family.
Yeah.
I think that was more of a factor of her losing to Obama as opposed to her just being an insider. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think those are what you just said. I think are two and the same. I think they're connected. Like, I think those are wrapped up together.
But I'm saying the definition of an insider probably means more than just you've been in politics or you've been in Washington per se.
I mean, if you go back to 2008, I mean, we haven't had anybody. I mean, who is the last president who's been a Washington insider that we have voted for? I mean, Clinton was, before he became president, he was, the first Bush. I mean, that's about the last one. I mean, Clinton was a governor of a state in Arkansas,
so
running cocaine.
Okay.
So,
but he was an insider. I mean,
well, he was
maybe he wasn't in Washington, but he was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
So he was in with Reagan and all that stuff. So, but what I'm saying is, we can't pretend to say that the only thing that makes you an outsider is this or that and the other when we don't even have a real definition of what an outsider is.
Going back to, what was that, 92 when Clinton was elected? Was it 92 or?
Yes, 92 to 2000.
Yeah. When he was elected, since 92, the American people have not elected a president that was a Washington insider.
Okay, so you mean nobody went from the Senate to the presidency?
Senate or Congress. I mean, I guess
well,
Barack.
did Reagan?
Reagan was, well, man, I think we can even go back farther than that. Yeah, Reagan was a governor of California.
What about
Carter?
Carter, peanut farmer. What about Ford?
No, Ford was on the, Ford was dirty as hell.
Well, but he got appointed through Nixon. So he's Nixon's vice president. He took over after Nixon left. So in actuality, he wasn't elected, so he doesn't even count. About Nixon, insider, right, or outsider?
Yeah, he's considered to be an insider. I mean, he had been running for president many times over and over again.
Okay, Johnson before that, he didn't get elected, so he doesn't count. Kennedy, outsider.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're talking 50 years back.
The American public wants.
But this is what they've always had.
Because it's what they want.
Which I've never thought about it like that, but nobody has ever gone from the Senate to the presidency. So if they want different and they want outsiders, they've never had anything inside. There's never been an insider since Nixon, which I don't even know if he was a senator or anything. I know he ran for president every time he got a chance. But was he a senator? Like, where did he come from?
I know, man, I don't remember exactly.
We'll have to
because
look it up.
I know Nixon had ran before and he just got demolished in one of the.
Kennedy kicked his ass.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because
he lost to Kennedy.
Yeah.
No, he lost to Goldwater, didn't he?
No. Barry Goldwater lost.
Was that later?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, he lost. At least we know he didn't beat Kennedy because he hated Kennedy. So maybe Kennedy beat him in that first election.
Yeah, it was because I can remember. Yeah, because Kennedy looked so charismatic. He was essentially like the Barack Obama of his time, like charismatic, smooth-talking person. And then you have old crusty Richard Nixon.
Yeah. So what is the thing about wanting an outsider? So we just don't want somebody to go from the Congress or the Senate to the presidency? Because if
It looks
if we
correct.
say we just wanted something different, we want an outsider, we always got an outsider. So is that just the natural way that Americans think? Like, we just will not vote and so that means Joe Biden's automatically lost.
I was just getting ready to say that we just buried the lead right there. There is no way Joe Biden has a chance because we just went back 50 years and nobody has been in Washington, D.C.
Unless you were a vice president that got appointed after somebody died or was removed.
Yeah.
Or resigned. So the only way a vice president has, an insider has become president is by felonious, just like
Unelected.
flukable shit.
Yeah, they weren't elected.
Yeah. All right.
So, all right. Democrats, you got no chance?
I'm trying to find his Wikipedia. That'll be easier to find out his history.
You can see Eisenhower. Eisenhower was a general.
Yeah, Ike was a military guy.
And that was in the 50s. That was right after World War II.
Where did FDR come from?
Ooh, that's way before my time.
Yeah, who knows?
I know FDR, I think, won like 3 or 4 presidential elections.
At least 4. He was president for like 20-something
He
years.
died in office, but he could have been president for like 16 years or stuff like that.
Yeah, they had to change the rules because of him. Okay, so member of the Republican Party, Nixon served as the 36th vice president from 53 to 61, having risen in national prominence as a representative and senator from California. After 5 years in the White House that saw the conclusion of involvement in the Vietnam War. I don't know what that word is, blah, blah, blah. But that proves our point that he was the last insider and it didn't go well.
No, and they impeached him.
Yeah, he had to get his ass out of there because he knew too much, probably. That might not be the reason.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because he's a dirty, foul individual.
But I think that shows you, so I think that gives you the precedent of why you have so many voters who went with Obama, and then now they swung, and most people look at it as being a radical swing from one side to the other that vote for Trump. Is because they want somebody from the outside, and Hillary Clinton is considered and viewed as being an inside person, and Joe Biden, 47 years or something like that.
But at the same time, it's a false premise to say that they just wanted an outsider, per se.
We just showed since
everybody's an outsider. So, it's just to say that we need to drain the swamp. It's like the swamp has always had a president who they thought was going to drain it and never has.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Yeah, that's true as well. But I'm just saying.
And he's the same thing because he didn't drain any swamp. He uses the swamp to his advantage.
Yeah, and Obama told us a bunch of stuff that we all hoped and believed in and didn't turn out to be
and in
what
the
we thought.
We all get let down by whoever is in office. All right. Now, Mitch McConnell said he's going to move fast on getting somebody else in there. Now, you wouldn't look at Republicans probably as bad people or monsters because their interests align with your interests, right?
Okay.
So, do you think what Mitch McConnell did when Obama was president about not trying to work with him was a good thing or a bad thing? Do you think that's like a terrible way to do government? To just stop everything that the other person does? Like, would you feel that way if the Democrats had the Senate and blocked everything Trump tried to do, even if it was something good?
Yeah, if the shoe was on the other foot, essentially.
Yes. You
no,
said it
I
better
can,
than I did.
I can agree. So what he did, now I will say, what McConnell did as far as for advancing conservative values and getting more justices on the court, that's about the only reason why he's where he's at still. If he hadn't have done that, he wouldn't be where he is right now within the party. Because he's considered to be a swamp monster as well. So, I mean, he's been there forever. But
he's the lagoon monster. He's the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, but if he hadn't have done what he did, the party would have probably have gotten rid of him by now. So, if the shoe was on the other foot, I would like it. And that's the problem with playing these when you are in power and then you set new precedents. It sucks when you're out of power, but then when you get the power, now you can re-inflict it back on your adversaries.
Okay, so I noticed something. I was watching the news. The announcement went out that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had passed away. Donald Trump was at a rally. In the middle of a pandemic, he was having a rally. But whatever.
Or a Black Lives Matter protest, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, whatever. Donald Trump was at a rally. He was asked a question, or it was brought to his attention that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG, or RGB, yes, Ginsburg, RBG, had passed away. Trump said he was not aware. That's the first that he heard of it. And he had a very human moment, which is the first time I've ever seen him act human. He said, wow. That's the first I've heard of that. She was an amazing woman. She led an amazing life. And it really saddens me to hear that. That's the first time I've ever seen Trump not be petty.
He didn't play politics with it.
Did not play politics. Now,
hey, that's good.
That's either one of two things. Either when you catch him off guard, you might catch the real Trump, or it could be he was prepped ahead of time. Maybe he was lying and he knew she was dead, and somebody already told him how to handle it. But they got to him early and said, hey, Mr. Trump, this is not one of those times for you to be petty like you did with John McCain and everything. You might want to handle this with a little bit of tact, because we might have to replace her right before the election, and that looks bad. So, but Trump doesn't listen to his people anyway.
That's what I was just getting ready to say.
So I'm leaning more to the side that he may have had a human moment, which leads me to believe the dog is not wagging the tail, but the tail is wagging the dog, meaning Mitch McConnell and the swamp are still more powerful than Trump. And despite what Trump may want to do, he cannot fight the swamp. He's not equipped to defeat his swamp. And so Mitch McConnell really doesn't give a damn. He doesn't have human moments because he's not human, I don't think. I don't think he's human. He doesn't have human moments, so he goes straight politics. All right, we're going to have a vote in a week.
Yeah.
Like, no respect. We're going to vote in a week. We're going to get it replaced. You know, that's really foul. And that's even fouler that's even more foul than Trump is, because Trump was like, you know, he didn't even say nothing about it. Now today he's probably tweeting about it.
Yeah.
But at least immediately he was respectful. I've never seen him be respectful of anything. So it's like, was he not acting at that point? Is he actually really a human being who actually has compassion? Because he's never seemed like it. Do you think, like when you look at Donald Trump, do you look at him and see like a good person?
No.
Wow.
No,
I mean,
not
like,
at all.
No. No.
No.
Not even in the slightest. No, he's not a good person.
I have a son. I would never raise my son
to be like Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's not at all. I'm not saying that. This is another thing that kind of piggybacking on this. I think one reason why so many people have voted for Trump is that he's not going around the world apologizing for America. He's telling everybody, we're going to make America great again. We are badasses. We run the world. We got the greatest this. We got the greatest that. And Obama went around basically apologizing for all the past sins of the nation as if, yeah. So
As if they were actually wrong, but when they're in the benefit of America, there is no such thing as doing wrong.
See,
no
this
matter
is-
how terrible what you do is that what you're trying to get at?
No. This is the great thing about
Or you
America.
always just stay in character
This is the great thing about America.
and pretend America's never done anything wrong.
America has done so many bad things wrong. So many terrible things have happened with America. But we have actually done things to improve them and change those bad things that we have done. And we've acknowledged that those were bad. And we put in new laws, new policies in place to try to rectify those. There are so many countries throughout this world that are still to this day practicing terrible things that they've been practicing for hundreds and hundreds of years. When the Constitution of the United States was written down and the Bill of Rights says all men are created equal, those men who wrote that down knew at that time that all men weren't created equal under the government that which it stood at that time. But that was the idea and the dream that one day this will be the case. And that is the awesome
How many
thing.
100 years later?
But it's still, this is the dream. And what we're still going towards that. And that, yes, we fucked up. Yes, we did terrible things in our past. We can't change that. There's no amount of crying, there's no amount of being upset about that can ever change it. But we're trying to move forward. And there are so many other countries and empires throughout the world that have never changed their ways, that have never tried to improve.
So
and
to
we
be-
have
so-
tried
so-
to improve.
So to be unapologetic about what you've done.
No, it's not about what you've done. It's about where you're going. And
so-
we are
no,
trying
but-
to
but-
improve.
But you see it that Barack Obama showed remorse for those bad things that have been done. And you like Trump because he doesn't apologize for it.
He doesn't apologize for our greatness.
What does that even mean? Our greatness?
America is the greatest country the world has ever known.
Because you say so.
Because we are.
Because you say so.
And the majority of
What
Americans...
do we lead the world in other than killing other people? Like,
See-
really, what do we really lead the world in except in giving money to the military? What are we number one in? What are we the best at? Football? American football? Sport we invented ourselves, right? What are we really the best at?
If
We
you-
can't even win basketball anymore. We invented basketball and we can't win basketball sometimes.
Sometimes.
But we don't even compete in soccer.
When we put our best players, we do.
But we can't do nothing with soccer. When everybody else is playing the same sport, we can't do nothing with it.
If you hate your past...
No,
If-
not hate. If you feel like, okay, I made some mistakes, I need to repent for those mistakes. But you're saying that you like Trump because he doesn't repent for those mistakes.
No, because he doesn't apologize for
Repentance.
Well, okay, you repent, apologize, whatever. He doesn't apologize for our standing to where we're at right now. That's what...
And he also gets in cushy with Russia and China and people who are trying to be greater. And countries
He's
who are,
cushy with
those
China. That
countries
he has
mean to
literally
those
totally,
countries mean and intend to be greater than us. They're a competitor.
Yes, and he has been kicking their ass. The idea that you just said that
You
he is
think he's
cushy
winning?
with China,
You think
China and us, our tensions are at the highest that they've ever been because he has been so hard on them, because he's sick of them stealing all of our intellectual property. That is a complete false statement that you just made. That is nowhere near he is cushy with China. He has been the hardest on China that there ever been. It's not even close.
Okay, I didn't mean China. I actually meant North Korea. But I was talking about Kim Jong-un. But, okay, I misspoke. But he is cushy with Putin.
Because we're not trying to go to war with him?
Maybe. I don't know. But I'm just saying, you saying that he's not apologizing for being great. But then on the other hand, he's not really, like, kicking our enemies' asses either.
Because he doesn't want to go to war.
That's-
Which the left has forever been about not going to war.
It's not about left or right. We're talking about his character as a person.
He doesn't want
And I'm
war.
not attacking him. But what I'm saying is, you say on one hand that Obama is too apologetic, and then Trump is not apologetic, and that's like a good quality.
Because it's almost like Trump wants to win.
Whatever
And
that
he
means.
wants, and he's representing America.
Okay, so
he
winning.
wants America to win.
Okay, what are
And
we?
we believe that he is
but
going to
but
lead us.
Chris, what are we winning at? If we're the greatest country in the world, what are we the greatest at other than American football?
Our economy, our
Our
standard of
economy
living.
is not the greatest economy in the world.
We are the richest nation in the world.
We have the most debt. So net worth, we're losing.
Our standard of living. There's no other country in this world that has a higher standard of living. Our homeless have better standards of living than other countries.
No,
their normal
some
people.
other countries, but that doesn't mean every other country. There are some countries where it sucks, but there are other countries where it ain't really that bad. We can't say that
Okay, I'm not
our
saying
homeless people are living better than all the richest people in every other country.
I'm not saying that. But our standard of living in this country is the highest. There's nobody that has a higher standard of living than us.
I don't know. I don't believe that you can prove that the standard of living in America. Okay, here's reasons why. Our health isn't the best. Our education isn't the best. What's our longevity? Do we live the longest? If our quality of life is so great, then how come these things don't equate into actually measurable things?
Well, I think part of our health not being as good is because we have so much food that's available that most of the world doesn't have.
Because we're working all the time. We don't have time to cook and prepare our own food. I think that's a sign of low quality of life. Because you have to work yourself to death and you have to work all these hours and you don't have time to do anything because you're too tired.
But see, this is why the left
That's not quality of life.
This is exactly why the left is losing, because you have the left that is basically saying that this country is not great. This country is not as good as what we say it is.
But let's not make it about
and the right is saying that we are the greatest country. We are dominating. We are awesome. We've done amazing things. We killed the Nazis.
All right. How about we killed the Nazis? We got Nazis sitting in here.
Oh, in this room?
No, I didn't mean in this room. I wouldn't sit with a Nazi. But we got Nazis in America who have carried on the tradition. But what I'm saying is, how about we try to separate it and not make it about left and right, because there's so many dynamics within the left and the right. How about we talk about specific things and specific people? I think that's more fair than to say the left or the right. Okay. So, what are we the greatest? What makes America the greatest country in the world? Really, like, the only reason that America has a claim to say that we're the greatest country in the world, because we say so.
We defeated.
It's more marketing than anything. Like, the Cowboys are America's team. You know, it's more marketing than anything. It's the land of opportunity. You know, these are marketing schemes.
We helped save Europe twice in 2 world wars. So that was a huge deal. I mean, literally in the Second World War, that was like a life or death for humanity. I mean, imagine if Hitler had won, and we never entered into this war, and we never opened up a second front.
I'm not trying to diminish America's role in World War II.
That was enormous. And then,
but they came late.
We came late,
and on top of that, there was a lot of support from America for Germany.
There was some support, and they were ostracized. Nobody liked them.
But their grandkids become president.
We've made movies.
Great-grandkids become
We've
presidents.
made movies with one of our most popular actor, Brad Pitt, saying that his favorite thing to do is killing Nazis. Like, this is
nobody saw that movie.
Our culture.
You don't even know the name of it.
Inglourious Bastards or some shit like that.
I don't think that was that, but if you say so, okay.
But I mean, we did not like the Nazis as a country. It was not cool to be a Nazi. There's some weirdos in a trailer park who think it's cool, but the majority of the country is not about that. And so we saved Europe twice in 2 world wars.
We saved ourselves.
Ourselves?
Germany wasn't a threat to us. Japan wasn't a threat to us.
Germany was not a threat to us. We were all the way over here. Japan was.
If they take over everything, if they take over Russia, they take over Asia, and then they work their way towards Europe, we can't compete at that point.
No, but there's still many men who laid their lives on the line, one, to end slavery. There's many men who laid their lives on the line to stop Hitler, to stop. And then also, we won the Cold War. The Russians weren't an evil empire. What they did to their own people after World War II was horrendous. They killed so many of their own people. And we defeated communism in Russia in the Cold War. These are amazing things that this country has done. Yes, we've done terrible things, but we have done a lot of amazing things. We go around, we've produced Bill Gates. Bill Gates would not be allowed to exist in another country. Bill Gates is going around trying to cure diseases in Africa, all over the world.
It really shocks me that you're giving Bill Gates credit with him being a leftist.
He has done some great things for a lot of people as far as when it comes to bringing cures for different diseases.
Maybe he created the diseases.
Now you sound like some QAnon people.
Maybe he created the disease.
But the idea...
it's all experiment for the game. But
Bill Gates would not be allowed to exist if it wasn't for capitalism. He would not be. He wouldn't exist. The state would have taken all of his money that he got.
Does anybody other than America have capitalism?
Yes.
A lot of other countries do, right?
Yeah, but they're still not on our level. Get on our level. It doesn't exist.
What do you mean our level? Because our level of capitalism means that everybody has opportunity to become Bill Gates?
In theory, yes.
And to be a lie. That's not. Well, how come you've only produced one Bill Gates?
Because there's only
one
Michael Jordan.
Out of all the billions of people that have lived in America,
why is there only one
over
Michael
the last
Jordan?
few hundred years, huh?
Why is there only one Michael Jordan?
Because I'm not the one who's going to say it's realistic to become Michael Jordan.
It's not.
And you can't say that capitalism creates
Bill
the
Gates.
opportunity to become Bill Gates. No, Bill Gates was given opportunities to become Bill Gates.
Bill Gates is the Michael Jordan of business.
No, but you can't attribute that to capitalism. You can't say that. Had it been a monarchy, you could still have a Bill Gates.
What?
If you live in if you have a monarchy, you could still have a Bill Gates because
they would have came up with the ideas.
No, the king can just go take your idea and just keep it. And then you got all the world curing. Say that Princess Diana had actually played the game of politics with the English crown and would have put herself in a position to put her kids in a place that they could do all her humanitarian work. She'd be just as great as Bill Gates, right? Because she was actually probably a better and more loved person than Bill Gates ever was. Not even
she
close.
never produced anything.
Because she didn't have the resources. But had she had the resources, if she
would
have
had the crown of
No, they didn't like her. They got rid of her because she didn't play the politics game right. She didn't play the politics of wearing the crown. So had she would have lived long enough to let the queen die, and then she could have influenced her children in a way that they could, because they got Bill Gates money.
Yeah, the family does, yeah.
Yeah, they got Bill Gates money.
And
so
they've never done anything that he's done.
I know, but they don't have the initiative. But I'm saying if Princess Diana's influence could have gone 2 generations, then you could have a Bill Gates type person out of the.
So are you arguing for a monarchy?
No, I'm saying that capitalism isn't what creates Bill Gates. I'm saying that you can get a Bill Gates anywhere.
But the only reason why Bill
under
Gates
any system, but we're assuming that Bill Gates just started from nothing and became that. That's not true either. We're assuming that Bill Gates just woke up one day, had 2 arms, 2 legs, and 2 eyes like everybody else, and Bill Gates excelled because of capitalism. No, he had some advantages.
He excelled because of his ideas.
He has some advantages.
His ideas is what excelled him. He decided to create something that was
called
Microsoft.
There were people that created what Bill Gates created well before Bill Gates even created it. Bill Gates was not the first to make an operating system. Bill Gates did not build the first computer.
But they didn't make that operating system.
They didn't make the monopolized operating system.
Yeah, the one that was the most sellable. Like, that's the difference. Like, it comes up to your ideas.
Apple, Mac
this
OS
whole idea
is
like,
sellable, but they don't sell it.
Okay, so I'm going to take it here. So, Kobe Bryant, my favorite basketball player of all time.
Good for you.
All right. The Mamba mentality. The entire platform of the Mamba mentality is hard work.
Mm-hmm.
That is the entire basis of all that. It doesn't exist. The Mamba mentality is not possible without the hard work and the dedication and the drive to be successful.
You say that to say capitalism gives them the Mamba mentality?
It is very similar. I believe if Kobe was not a great basketball player, he would have been a great businessman because his mindset, the way that he went about life, would have been the exact same. And the only difference was he was trying to score buckets versus trying to get sales. And I think he would have done the exact same thing with Michael Jordan. Any of these guys who have that mindset, that hard work, that mentality, I'm going to rip your heart out.
Okay, so Michael Jordan, had he not been 6'6", would have been Bill Gates instead.
Well, I mean, he's a billionaire. I mean, the dude's a billionaire. So Kobe wasn't even a billionaire.
Do you think he had a computer when he was 6?
Who, Michael?
Yeah.
No.
Then he can't be Bill Gates.
Okay, so he could have been the Bill Gates of cars. I mean, who knows what it could have been. It didn't have to be the exact same field.
Yes.
But that mentality is going to allow you to be successful in whatever area you choose. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, and the word success, that's subjective. Successful could mean I own a car dealership. Successful could mean I own a nameplate. Successful could mean I own dealerships across the whole region.
Yeah.
So we're talking Bill Gates level. Michael Jordan is the Bill Gates of basketball, right?
Yes.
But could Michael Jordan have been Bill Gates in any other area other than basketball? Because the playing field is not level anywhere except in sports. Everybody does have about the same opportunity. You work hard, but then like your physical attributes come into play as well.
Yes.
You know, if you're tall, if you're bigger, stronger, whatever. You know, if you don't have degenerate knees or something like that, that does come into play. But sports are even. Like everybody, it's just one man against another. You got what you got. They got what they got. Man who scores the most points win. Everything else doesn't work like that.
But once it gets to a certain point, to a certain level, the separation comes to what kind of work are you actually putting in.
Okay, but there's only so much work you can put in when you go to a subpar school that's not going to prepare you for MIT, that's not going to prepare you for Yale. There's only so much work you can do, and then you're not going to make it. Because you got to have some kind of advantages. You got to have somebody that's going to sit with you and give you all the tools you need so that you can prosper once you hit that next level. Bill Gates has been building computers and working with computers since he was a kid. If you're not doing all that since you're a kid, you're not likely to catch Bill Gates.
Okay.
No, but I'm saying we can't just say the reason Bill Gates exists is because of capitalism. Because
So
capitalism in itself means you, like, whether it is what it's not that, but capitalism in your sense is just work hard and you can do anything. Yeah, not really though.
No, but you won't be homeless living in the side of a road either.
Not necessarily. You could just lose everything.
So if
it happens all the time. People go bankrupt every day.
Yeah, but they're not living on the side of the road.
Sometimes they do.
No, there's nobody out there who is super dedicated and willing to work as hard as possible. Like the mama mentality that is literally living on the side of the road. Now, maybe they're not like
Some
living in life of luxury.
to live on the side of the road until they get to the point where they want to not live on the side of the road because they feel like
it's impossible.
You know what? It is possible. Like, man,
you can get a job working.
There are a lot of people that live a minimalist lifestyle and they'll live out of a truck or live out of a van or something like that. It doesn't mean that they don't work hard. It just means that they're not interested in being rich or wealthy or whatever.
Okay.
But if they choose to, they can do so. But
the idea of capitalism is only successful if everybody in the world is Bill Gates.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. You're saying that the only reason Bill Gates exists is because of capitalism. Yes. And I'm saying, no, Bill Gates can exist under a lot of different economic systems.
Under communism, that all that money that Bill Gates had, all that capital, is now owned by the state.
Well, the name is just not Bill Gates anymore. It's state.
Yes, so then it's
but the state can still accomplish a lot
would
if
you
they have
want
the right mindset.
Would you
normally they
want
don't,
Donald
though.
Trump? So would you want Donald Trump to be able to own all the capital in the world and be able to dictate where all goes?
I'm not. But Chris, I'm not trying to say that we need another system of government. I'm saying that it's a little short-sighted to say America is the greatest country in the world because we have capitalism, and capitalism gives us Bill Gates.
It's not just
That's
that.
a false. That's a false equivalency.
It's not just that. It's not just that we have Bill Gates, so that makes us the greatest.
I know, but you said because of
That was
capitalism.
an example.
I know, but I'm saying it's a bad example.
And there's millions more examples. This is the reason why the left is losing, is because they don't believe that America's great. And the majority of America does believe this. And
I
so
don't know
until
okay,
you get on board,
oh,
you're going to
so-
continue to lose elections
okay,
over and over and over again.
Well, but until you face
This is why the Democratic Party has become a coastal party.
okay, but you don't think that maybe you're being a little bit unrealistic to say it's just great because I said so, as opposed to having some real tangible stuff to explain why it is great
Either way, it doesn't matter.
because we said so. So
Yes.
it's more of an illusion in your mind that America is the greatest country in the world, even though there's no proof
It is-
behind it.
but it's true.
Bill Gates, Tesla, Apple, that makes America the greatest country in the world because we got a few companies that are worth a lot of money.
No.
We got Amazon. Well, somebody's got Alibaba.
We
We got Apple. They got Samsung. I mean,
there's no other system where you can have somebody who is born into literally poverty or foster care or a ward of the state that can grow up to become a millionaire. It
Yeah.
doesn't exist anywhere else.
And you know what? It ain't likely to exist here. It's very rare.
It's not very. It is extremely rare, but it does happen, and it doesn't happen anywhere else.
How long have we been talking? I don't have a clock.
We're at 57 minutes.
This is too long. Yeah, we went too long. All right, we're done for today. We'll come back and we'll do this again another time. But thanks for joining us. I think our live feed
Crashed.
went out a long time ago. We tried. Facebook this is supposed to be the greatest country in the world. You can't even keep a live feed going.
Facebook's communist.
That is disgraceful. Disgraceful. In the greatest country in the world, we can't even get a live stream.
Because they're run by Democrats.
Chris is going to get up and walk away like he did last time. All right, we had a good episode. I hope you enjoy it. Hit us up with any comments, with any feedback. We're on Facebook. We got videos on YouTube. The podcast is broadcast on Podbean, Apple, Stitcher, and I think it will be on Google soon. Google, and there's another one, but I don't even use it. But it exists. Maybe Spotify or something like that. We'll see. But if Spotify ain't cutting a check, then we'll get up and we'll leave like Joe Budden. All right. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, guys.